Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I just wanted to share with you kind of our routine and some tips I have for easing back into the school year. I know this can be a really abrupt, hectic time for homeschool families. So I just wanted to share what we do to ease ourselves back in, get ready for that school routine, because our family does take on a pretty solid homeschooling routine. If you are familiar with me and my channel, then you are aware that we are a big advocate of rhythm, the family rhythm instead of a schedule. So rhythms are more fluid, they are more free-flowing, they're more adjustable and adaptable, and just a much more gentle approach to keeping routine and not being super scheduled in a way that feels icky and restrictive. So we are going to go back to school at the beginning of September, and there are a few things I am doing here in mid-August that is going to help my kids transition back, because we have taken the entire summer off. In fact, we have taken more than the entire summer off. We have actually been off since the spring, pretty early in the spring, because I got pregnant at the end of March, and I was super sick. So I was not able to continue our school year any longer. So one of those things I love about homeschool, I was just like, okay, do you know what? This is the phase we're in and we're just done for the year. And that's what we did. So we have been off for a long time. So getting my kids back into the rhythm of the school year is super important, that I do this gently so that it's not an abrupt transition. We don't have, they get cranky, I will get cranky. It would just be really, I don't want it to feel like butting heads. I want their learning to be calm and comfortable and something inviting that they like to do. So it's really important to me that we start in a very gentle way. Without further ado, I'm going to give you guys my 6 best tips to adjust and ease back into a homeschool rhythm, or get ready for the school year, whatever you want to call it, whatever this looks like for your family. Here are 6 things that I will be doing to adjust my children and myself back. Thing 1 is to plan meal times again, and schedule and plan family meal times. I am a huge believer in the family meal time. We eat dinner around the table every night that we can, and we make it a family affair. We're never eating in front of a TV. We're not distracted. We talk. There are no phones allowed, nothing like that at the table. It's a time for connection, to come together at the end of the day, talk about our days, really just have that moment of connection. And even though it might not be that long, it makes a huge difference in our day. And I notice an enormous difference in my children in times where we are regularly having our family dinners, and when we've kind of fallen off the wagon and we're not doing it so much. So summer naturally is a fall off the wagon season. We don't eat dinner together all the time. We're busier, so we're out sometimes at dinner time, or we're just throwing something together. I still do try to incorporate meal times together. My husband works weird hours sometimes, so it's been messy. So this is something that I find really important, to really kind of anchor the day, where the kids will start to understand, okay, routine, rhythm is coming back. So making your family meal times a thing again. And if you don't do this, maybe consider trying it and see if you like it. But planning your meal times again is a huge one. So make sure dinners are on the same time every night. Obviously you can be a little bit flexible with this. For us, sometimes we eat at 5 and sometimes we eat at 6. Because sometimes my husband is off earlier in the afternoon and sometimes he works until 6. I am flexible within about an hour. Dinner is always around that time. I'm sorry if you can hear little shuffling sounds. My bird was having a nap and I decided, I can go film beside his cage, and now he's like, what are you doing? So meal times is a huge one, and I know it seems like a little random, but anchoring your day in this way brings back a huge chunk of rhythm. And then if you want additional little things, you can add on more of a bedtime routine. If you're doing baths or showers every night and you want to read a family story or spend a few minutes with each kid individually, this would be a great time to start bringing in these little routines to anchor in your day. But the family meal is big enough that if you just do this one thing, it will bring a lot of rhythm back into your schedule and back into your days. And a way I make this easier for myself is meal planning, of course. I just make sure I know ahead of the game what is happening for dinners, and it just makes everything easier, so I'm not trying to wing it every night. So if you're not a meal planner, this would be a good time to maybe try that out too. All right, tip number 2 is to start a gentle version of your rhythm. So this just means not your full-on school rhythm. Like, we have an entire school rhythm, and I'll show you at the end of this video. I have it taped to our chalkboard, and it's what the kids can expect every day. So for us, that looks like, on Mondays we do morning math, and then we'll go to the library or blah, 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 right? It's just a flow. It's not exactly what's happening every day, but the kids know to expect a general theme for that day, general activity. So we're not going to go back to that right away, but starting a gentle version of our rhythm. So just maybe coming together for breakfast for us, and because in the summer we really do breakfast whenever everybody wakes up, and it's kind of a little bit more scattered. Perhaps we'll go on a walk together in the morning to bring that routine and that togetherness back, because again, the kids kind of go off on their own during the summer and do whatever the heck they want. And then in the school year, we are together all the time, and we are always doing things together, working around each other. And so just bringing in those little elements really helps my kids understand that we're going back into that rhythm and get their bodies and their minds ready for that. That also means I'm going to start doing our library days again consistently, starting that, okay, this day we go to the library, and this day, mom does grocery shopping or whatever. Like, just bringing those things they are familiar with back into their life. This can look different for every family, and you can add as much or as little of this in as you feel you need to get everybody back to that yearly rhythm feel. Thing 3 is super important, and I think it's overlooked by a lot of parents, and that is putting yourself back into your routine for your school year. I don't know about you, but my routine for summer and my routine for my school year are 2 very different things. So this means I'm going to start adjusting my wake up time. So for example, we school about 3 hours a day, Monday to Thursday, and Friday is kind of our flex day where we go adventure and meet up with homeschool friends and all sorts of things like that. But over the summer, we are all sleeping in, and things are inconsistent, and sometimes I'm up early and sometimes I'm not. And being pregnant, that really changes things too right now. Putting yourself back into the normal routine you would have during the school year is so important, because that way you're not waking up on the first day of school feeling like you got hit by a truck, feeling like you're having this big adjustment too. So do not forget yourself. This is going to look like, again, making myself get up consistently at the same time every day and go to bed consistently at the same time every day. So I am getting my hours of sleep, but I am happy and ready to serve my family and teach my children and just really be there for them. This is going to bring back kind of my breakfast coffee routine that I like to have, make sure everything is done by a certain hour so that I'm ready to approach the school day with my kids and they're not waiting on me. This looks like prepping more, so like making sure I meal prep and meal plan my weeks a little better. On the weekends, maybe like pre-chopping things and getting things ready to make my life easier during the week. Just these little things, whatever this looks like for you. But it's so important to remember that we as mothers and as parents, we steer the ship and we set the tone for the rest of the day, for the rest of the week for our family. We really do. We have that superpower of, if we show up grumpy, unorganized, not ready, that energy will transition onto our family and it will just become a not so great day. If you show up calm, ready, feeling good, you're well rested, everything like that, the day is going to go a lot better and your kids feed off that energy. It is absolutely this equal energy exchange. And your kids are looking for your cues, not only what you're putting out physically, but the feeling in the air. You know, and you can feel that when somebody's grumpy, they don't have to say a word, but they can walk into a room and you feel the shift. So keep that in mind. You steer the ship and you set the tone. My fourth tip is to do a big clean and space preparation. If you have a homeschool room, this is a good time to go through everything, prepare for the next school year, print off what you need to print off, give everything a good purge and clean, get it out of the house if you don't need it anymore, just declutter your space. We don't have a schoolroom, we school at the dining room table, so that looks different for us. We have some bits that we don't use as often down in our basement playroom because they're kind of multi-purpose things. But going through all of our homeschool stuff and our carts that we just do keep up on our main floor, And just making sure everything is sorted in its place and ready to go so that we're not annoyed or trying to find things when school does start. It does make things feel fresh and ready to go. So whatever that looks like for your family, just prepare and clean your homeschool spaces. And if that means prepare and clean your dining room or your living room or whichever, do that, because it will feel so much better when you're ready to start school. And it's important to remember that when you are homeschooling, you are home all the time usually. And it's not the same as like going somewhere and getting that brain break of looking at the same space all the time. So a clean, organized space really does help mentally clear things for you and your kids. My fifth tip would be to start dividing your day into chunks. What I mean by that is if you know that activities are going to be starting school soon, like my kids will start some of their homeschool extracurriculars and stuff come September and October. And so if we know that we are going to be doing that again, then we can start kind of dividing the day into gentle chunks. It's kind of like with the rhythm, but maybe we do our morning kind of rhythm routine, like maybe we have breakfast together and then we go for a little walk and walk the dog. And then if we know, okay, this is a day where we go to I always say the library because it's a really neutral thing. But if we're gonna go to the library in the afternoon, we go there and start doing that. So start dividing your day, or like the park, or whatever it is. Maybe you go kick a soccer ball around because that day is going to be sports class, right? So you just kind of get that mental shift going and get used to having your day be divided into chunks again, if that is normally what your days look like during homeschool season. Because I just know from my family personally, the classes are usually in the afternoons, so we have to adjust our day to that. And kind of gently doing that ahead of the game gets the kids more adapted to being more understanding of in and out of the house, or like on this day, they're just ready for whatever comes a little easier than they would be if we didn't do anything at all. Now, my sixth and final tip is maybe a little bit controversial. It depends on what your family does, and it's having to do with screen time. So some people are really strict about their screen time limits. They don't like screen time and they try to avoid it at all costs. Some people set no limits at all. I feel like we're pretty in the middle. My kids have pretty free range to their screen times and games because they play with friends, and there's a lot of value in that for my kids. Like they speak, I don't know if you can hear them in the background of this video, but that's what they're doing while I film. They speak over headsets with their friends and they talk with them, and so they're socially engaged right now. And in this day and age, I think it's really important that they maintain a relationship with, sorry, there's like a fly in my house. They maintain a relationship with screens and being able to work with this technology, because it's going to be a huge prominent part of their life no matter what, just because it's the day and age we're in. That's just a little, I'm not saying that that's what everybody should do, but I'm just giving you some perspective on what my family does and why that works for us. When we are doing school, we have a rhythm. We're busy at other chunks of the day. So like my kids, even though they kind of have like a free flow access to screen time, we know that, okay, during mealtime, we're obviously not going to be on our screens. That's family time. And when we have family movie night, that's like a together thing. Or like when we go to the library, we're obviously not bringing any screens with us. So they know that those kind of chunks of time are screen free. And when we're doing school, obviously we do school upstairs and at the table, and we're physically involved and we're mentally stimulated and ready for that. And so we do school in the mornings, and then we have lunch together and we clean up after the day, and then they have a couple hours where like we don't really have anything going on and I need adult work time, and they're allowed to go do whatever they want, and they almost always choose going and doing whatever they want, to play games or do their screen time or whatever. That's kind of like the routine we have, and this gives me an opportunity to get work or rest done if I need more naps coming closer to my due date, or if I just need some time to film videos and edit and do things like that. So it might be a good idea to start dividing your day a little bit into your natural screen time chunks. Maybe this doesn't apply to everybody, but for us it means like we're just not gonna touch screens until lunch. And then after that, they can start having those free roam afternoons again, just to kind of get them back into not craving that screen time first thing when they wake up or anything, if that's what they've been doing in the summer, or And it gives me that designated time every day to start to get back on my work rhythm and everything. So having kind of a rhythm involving screens can be super helpful too, because I know screens can be the source of a lot of stress in a lot of families. And so doing this in advance before school starts is probably gonna cause less kickback and less disappointment on your kids' part when, oh, it's time to do school and it's not as, and they can't do screens right now or whatever, you know? So it might be a really good idea to just start to divide those times and kind of chunk up your time in that way. All right, you guys, those are my 6 tips. I hope they were helpful. I will take you over and show you our rhythm and just give you a little glance at it. We come from a Waldorf inspired background, so rhythms and like things like that are important to me. And I've always just kind of, even though we're not like super hardcore Waldorf at all, we just take what we like and leave what we don't. I have carried some Waldorf practices through our school years now, going into grade 6 and grade 3, and the rhythm is one of them. So let me show you that. Hey, you're really high up there. Hopefully you can see this okay, but here's where I put our learning rhythm, and I just call it our learning week. This is from last year, but it's still gonna work really well for us for this year because I made it halfway through the year last year, I think. This is my daughter's rhythm. This is my son's rhythm. And so they mirror each other, but they're different because my kids are 3 years apart. So there's some big learning gaps between them. But on Mondays, for example, we start with morning math for both kids. Even though they're doing separate math things, we start with morning math. Everybody knows what to expect. For my daughter next, we'll do a spelling and grammar lesson. For my son, we'll work on his reading. And then we all come together and we do baking. Because I have these cards up there, hopefully you can see, where this one is baking day. And so they're labeled what days they are on the back for me, and our kids just know that rhythm. Like, oh, today's baking day, today's gonna be drawing day, and like today is, you know, family adventure day or whatever, and they just know to expect that. And so the rhythm just keeps them the rhythm just makes them feel like they're in control. It makes me feel like I have, we all just know what to expect. And so it avoids a lot of issues and tantrums or upset feelings with my kids, because this is just the way it is, and it's what everybody knows what to expect 4 days a week. There's really not a lot of kickback in our family because they know what's coming up next. And after we bake, for example, on Mondays, we go and do outdoor activities. So some physical, burn some energy, whether or not that looks like a walk or a jump on the trampoline or, you know, meeting up with friends at a park, whatever it is. And then we both do reading and book study, so that's separate for both of them, unless we're doing a book together. And then they do creative or something creative or handwork, whatever I have in the schedule for that day. And then they know they have their free time after. So that's kind of how and it changes every day for us. So they're kind of mirrored. That just gives you an example. If there's a class after, I will put that class in, and it just makes everybody know what to expect. So this is really simple. I just did some watercolors on the back of a piece of paper and wrote it all out. And it didn't have to be more complicated than that. And for these, I just keep them on a little alligator clip, and I just watercolored some paper, made some little drawings on it, and labeled the day. Like, it's pretty simple. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in my next video, and happy homeschooling. I hope you all have a wonderful start to your year. Bye guys.